And we are live. Hey, everyone. Hello. Good evening. I'm Caroline. I'm doing this puppet podcast. And tonight I'm receiving someone from New York area. Here we go. Doo-doo-doo. Yay. So I'm so happy to have you again for another episode. And I want to let you know that you can always chat with us during the interview, leave comment, just write below, and we can like acknowledge that you are there. And if you want to say from where you are watching, it's always fun to see from where the crowd is reaching to us. So yeah, I want to talk of a workshop that we organize pretty soon. Also, just before the interview, we do this wonderful workshop about online streaming and also about OBS. So let me bring it in the screen. Yeah, so here is our next workshop. It's on our Patreon. So if you haven't get the chance to watch all what we offer on Patreon, we have a lot of promotion tools and a lot of stuff. But here we have Mathieu René, who is the creatorist and who do a lot of like online stuff, and he's really good with OBS, and he can teach us a lot of stuff about Twitch and about online streaming. So we really want to have his knowledge all over, and that's why we're sharing this wonderful workshop with the community. So yeah, and if you go on the Patreon, you could see all the past workshops. So I really recommend you to be with us with this big adventure of online puppetry promotion and make this field of art growing. So yeah, I'm really excited about this interview tonight because it's so funny that I met many new people. I'm always like, people refer me people. They're just, oh, you must interview this person. I met him. It's so cool. And so I've done myself a podcast. I've been interviewed on a podcast called You Booked It from an Australian artist, a dancer, amazing interview that we have done together. And now he suggests me other artists to interview. So please welcome in the screen, everyone, the wonderful Chris.
Hey.
Have the drum roll.
Oh, I could do a thing on the piano, which I usually do. Oh, it's not working. There you go.
Here you are. Thank you, Chris, to be part of the Puppet Podcast.
Thank you for having me. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited to talk about puppets.
Yes, a live interview about puppetry passion. So I want you first, Chris, to introduce yourself to the community who are watching. Maybe you can talk about you and your way into the puppetry world.
Okay, well, my name is Chris. I have been living and performing in New York for about 10 years. And only puppetry, I got into puppetry recently, like maybe 3-4 years ago. Because I came into New York as a musical theater boy. I went to the same college as my friend Dane, who's the one who connected us, Boston Conservatory. And everyone's trying to be on Broadway, but I never really felt like I fit in with the Broadway scene. So I sort of migrated downtown a little bit where things get weird and experimental. So I work at La Mama Experimental Theater Club in the East Village. And that is, you know, they are the sort of founding source of the off Broadway movement. And so there's lots of puppeteers that came from La Mama that are still at La Mama. And we have actually a biannual puppet festival. That's an international puppet festival. So yeah, I performed at La Mama, and all of the puppet artists at La Mama have sort of nurtured me and taught me everything I know about puppetry. That would be like Theodora Skipetaris and Loco 7 Dance Puppet Theater Company mainly. And yeah, and that's a little bit about me. Now I teach puppetry to kids, and I'm developing my own show right now, which you see a little bit of right there in the background. You'll see more of that later.
Yes, because we always have a little bit of visual in the conclusion. So everyone stay tuned to see more of it. at the end. And we have people watching from New York area, from also Montreal. Jacqueline, hello, yeah. And we have you see the people who are chatting with us. Chris, it's on the side. You just click on comment so you can.
Oh my gosh, there they are.
Yeah, so be free to chat with us. And yes, Chad, Mathieu René was talking about the workshop. He's an amazing puppeteer. So thank you for watching. And yes, let's jump into the big, deep question of the Puppet Podcast. So are you ready, Chris?
I'm ready.
Yeah. So the first one is the why. Like, what makes the art of puppetry an art that you cherish?
Oh my God. Well, for me, it was a very selfish thing because I was very disappointed because a lot of my time acting in New York was spent being Asian because I'm Asian. And I would go in for Asian things and my agent would send me in for Asian things. And I did Miss Saigon twice and I went for Asian commercials and I was done with it because I'm like, well, you know, I'm much more than just an Asian person. This was like back before Hamilton. So the Hamilton, I feel like changed the game. It's different now, but before I had like very limited options. But puppetry, I loved because I didn't have to be anything. I didn't have to be a guy. I didn't have to be gay. I didn't have to be Asian. I could be whatever. I could be nothing. I didn't exist. It was just the puppet. So I really loved it. And I got a lot of work that way because I discovered it. And I think the thing that I cherish about puppetry is that, yes, that distance that you have to have, like from your own self. It's a removal kind of, because you're transferring this thing into an object or something, a piece of paper, and you have to look at that from a different perspective. And then at some point, once you've like worked with that object for a long time, you start to fuse and you start to become like one thing. And then you're sort of, and so in that fusion, you kind of see a different part of yourself. Like it's almost like you're looking back at yourself from the puppet, which is weird. It's only happened to me a few times, but in those moments, in those zones, it's really, really surreal. And that doesn't happen to me when I'm just doing like straight acting or something.
Yeah. Wow, that's such a deep explanation. It's really, that's true. That's a lot of freedom and a lot of, I feel it's a bit therapeutic about what we are doing in the storytelling. We can just reach away and reach more public at the same time. It's so.
And the thing is that, oh, so I guess that's how my crush for puppetry happened.
Yeah, I want to know your crush. When that crush happened.
But I've always I don't know. I like puppets because, you know, I'm tired of hearing people talking on stage. Like it just doesn't interest me anymore. And, you know, you just have so many biases against like the actor that's acting, and there's so many things involved. But with puppets, you can just watch something and all of that is removed, and the text, if there is text, really comes through, and a simple gesture, just like reaching a hand out, means a lot, you know, because you're also thinking about how is that hand moving, and that's a whole other layer. And yeah, so I think that's how my crush for puppetry happened. Also because we never touched a puppet in school, so puppets were like such a new, fascinating thing for me when I came up here.
Yeah, it's such a new discovery. So you reach and it's fresh, and yeah, let's do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so cool. And I want to know, like, because you were talking about school, I want to know about like the way to fall into puppetry. Like, in your opinion, what would be the best field of study? What we should study to become puppeteers?
Well, I know that Theodora teaches sculpture at Pratt, and I think that's a really good one. That goes really well hand in hand because you know all about forms, and you know a little bit about even architecture, and you work with different materials. So I think that would be good if you want to go into puppet making. And also movement. I think like the voice and speech class that we took in school had a lot of movement, and we had a movement class, and I think those go really well. Dance too. Dance is probably a really, really good one because you learn all about your body and how it moves. and you develop that sense of awareness.
Yeah.
I would also say, yeah, so sculpture, movement, dance, visual art.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I saw some of your work. I put it on the promo, like your Pinocchio thing you have done, and those thing with the music also. So do you feel the music influence your art, and the classical also?
Yeah, I would love to do singing puppets. I mean, that's kind of what my show is. It's singing puppets. Well, it's me singing with puppets.
Yeah,
But yeah, I always love to have music or dance in the
yeah.
infused in the puppetry.
Yeah, and do you have a definition? I always like to hear like the own definition, like in your own word. What is a puppet? Like how
Oh my gosh, this is like a thesis. This is a thesis. I there's so many definitions. It could be, I guess a simple one is just uh an object that is, this is a very rough, this is like on the spot. You know, it could be something that is manipulated to, you know, to achieve sort of, it's manipulated to tell a story, basically. And it can be an object, it can be light, it can be, you know, I don't know, I'm really not articulate right now, but it's something that is being manipulated by a human
yeah.
to tell a story.
Yes.
I think that's like the broadest definition I can think of.
But I love that you bring the light, because often we think in object, but also just a light could be like the way you put light on object also is part of the job. So
Yeah, that's
yeah.
become one of my favorite forms of puppetry, is shadow puppets.
Yeah.
Because you can scale really huge in a short amount of time.
Yeah, totally. It's a lot of potential. And I want to ask you your big dream, like for the future, like of puppetry in your own career. Like, do you have like a big purpose that you like and see for yourself with puppetry?
Yes, I'm thinking of it now. This is really good because I'm applying to grad school and I'm like, ooh, what can I think about? First of all, anything that I do, I want it to involve community. I can't, I'm having a hard time with this show right now because I'm doing it all by myself. And I hate that process of just like sitting in my room, coming up with stuff on my own. Like, I need a lot of input. That's what I miss about being in the theater, is bouncing ideas off of each other. And kids are a really great source of input and ideas. So I imagine making a giant show that has a lot of ideas that come from kids in the community. They can come up with the craziest characters. They have such great imaginations. They come up with the best dialogue that no writer can write. And I would love to just take their ideas and explode them on the stage and elevate those with like really, really tight design elements, with really, really good music and even projections. But like the heart of it comes from the kids and maybe a story that we create together. That's something that I would want to do, I think. And then hopefully that becomes sort of like a model that we can take to different places around the world and work with this group of kids and create that show, and this group of kids creates that show, and like all of that.
That's amazing. And it's funny when you say that, you know, you have those face on Facebook, like you can have a thumbs up, or heart, but we get a little, ooh.
Oh, I see it. It's like floating up right now. It's going,
oh, yeah, because you were talking about this kids project. And then we bring a question of the audience. We have Andres who asked this, and it's funny to talk also about the Muppet, like, and do you like consider the Muppet. Like for you, I want to ask you and have your
Yeah.
answer on this Muppet thing.
Yes. Well, there's a lot of they at La Mama they don't like the Muppets. I mean they do, but it's Muppets are the mainstream puppet, and then at La Mama we try to sort of we try to highlight what's on the fringes. So we don't do a lot of Muppets at La Mama, but I have a Muppet right here actually that I'm using for another kids show. I like them. I think they're very accessible, and they're like the first thing that people think of. Hi. They're the first thing that people think of when they think of puppets. They think of this.
Yeah,
But
the eyes and
so I think it's a good entry point. I think it's a good beginning sort of introduction to what is a puppet. But for me, I think it's more on the entertainment side, and I think when you're trying to go into the art of it, that there's so much more that can be presented, that is not just a Muppet. I like deconstructing things, so I would like to have a Muppet that's maybe has no eyes, or maybe it's just a mouth moving or something like that.
yeah, to have some abstraction or
Yeah.
It's kind of interesting because I feel we need to reinvent also and find other way to bring puppetry and extend the potential of it. So I want to ask you this: do you feel puppetry have reached its full potential, or do you feel like we are in
Oh,
ascension?
I think with tech, it's just gonna get even crazier. I mean, King Kong was like super, super ambitious. And expensive. And I have never used, what are those things called? Like the voodoo, right? The voodoo rig. I haven't used one of those, but I feel like it's gonna get more into that kind of stuff. Like it's gonna get into animatronics and really sophisticated robotics and things like that. I mean, that might be what the mainstream goes to, but I hope that like downtown, like down on earth, we explore also. I've seen a lot of people working with projection design too, like a little puppet. I wish I could show you, but like one of the things we did with Theodora, she had like a transparent mannequin head with like a legging over it, and then she shot a projection inside of it, so you could project a face onto, like a moving face onto this transparent head, and then it sat on a tripod and we were just moving that around, and that was really cool. So I would like to see more experimenting with tech and projection mapping and stuff.
That's so fun and true that we need to go there and get the technology with
but I feel like the craft of like making puppets, like crafting puppets, I feel like that is being threatened, because it's like we can just 3D print something, but like actually like working with your hands and molding things and cutting things, like I feel like that needs to be kept alive still.
We want this still. I agree so much. And I want to ask you also, where do you see puppetry in 10 years?
In 10 years.
You talk about technology a bit, but do you have like something you say, like we need to achieve this, or we need to, like something for the...
You know what? I'm feeling, okay, actually, going back to Muppets, there is an artist who she's sort of blowing up right now because she was part of Beyonce's Black is King. Her name is Tierra Whack, I think. That's how you say it, but she is like a new R&B artist and rap artist, and she had a video that just has Muppets in it, and this is like 2020, and I'm thinking of like Missy Elliott's video with the marionettes. I feel like puppets in 10 years are going to sort of go back into the mainstream, because people are just tired of watching people right now, and puppets are so, like, they haven't been in the mainstream for a while unless it's been a Muppet, and I feel like people are ready for that now. Like you got to watch those videos. They're really cool. It's just it's just like her, just like a rap artist, just like sitting there with her Muppets and stuff, and it's like Muppets are cool again,
Yeah, I want to see that. I will for sure try to.
Like
And we will.
Sesame Street was like the coolest thing. I mean, there was everybody on Sesame Street. Stevie Wonder was on Sesame Street, you know? So it's just like I wish we could sort of have that connection with pop culture again.
Yeah.
Because yeah.
Sure. So I totally agree, and I want also to know more about your project because you have some puppet around. So I want for the conclusion maybe to see a visual of what you are doing, like with the 2D. I think you're working on also two-dimensional.
Yeah, pretty much everything is like 2D because I told you I'm new to the field. I haven't spent years and years learning how to craft puppets and build them. I've spent most of my time as a puppeteer. So the easiest, well, the most accessible thing for me is to work with paper and paper cutouts. And so I like working with 2D flat objects. So like right behind me is a cardboard cutout of a car because the show that I'm developing takes place on a road trip, and it's basically me driving in this car the whole time. And I also have like this little, where is it? Oh yeah, this little version of the car there. And during the road trip, I sort of teach myself how to sing because I'm listening to like an audio book, and the audio book is called How to Sing. So it's a very long road trip, and I'm hoping that by the end of it, I learn how to sing. But the thing is, the tape is actually it's a terrible audiobook, and it gives terrible advice. And the advice it gives ends up being more like life advice, you know. So I take that literally, and I learn all of these life lessons on the way. And that's sort of what I'm thinking. It's because I'm a singer. My mom was a singer, and you know, it's been passed through our family. And so I'm trying to sort of make this connection to my roots and what is folk music and how can singing and puppetry go together and all of that.
Wow.
Yeah. Also, I think the puppets help it because it's such a vulnerable thing for me that the puppets help me sort of put
Yeah.
something in front. It's a little bit of a mask.
Yeah, to be out of the story a bit, but at the same time play it. So it's kind of good to.
Yeah, because I feel like if it was just me, there's a little bit of a danger of it becoming too sentimental or whatever. But if I can put it into a puppet, like I can maintain a distance from it, which I think is important.
Yes, totally. And
Yeah.
yeah, if people want to see more of your work, they want to reach out to you, where they should go.
Well, you can follow me on Instagram at Chris Iggy, ChrisIggie, or my website, chrisignacio.com, or just go to La Mama if you ever like want to. I'm pretty much hanging out like at La Mama virtually or in person all the time, or in the East Village. And I'm super just open to meeting up with people. Yeah, or on Facebook too.
Yeah.
I
Oh,
have this other girl. This is actually, she's my aunt. She makes an appearance in the show too. She sings. This is my aunt that was a singer.
wow. That's so
Yeah.
cool. You're from a singer family. You have a lot of voice behind you.
Yeah, but see the thing is when my mother came to the stage, she actually stopped singing. And so I think that there's something there like in terms of like an immigrant story and someone who has sort of left their passion, you know, to become an American or to become a mother or whatever. So I'm sort of exploring that. And I feel like I have this like duty to keep singing because she's not anymore, you know.
Mm.
So yeah, and puppets.
That's great. Like to combine art form. I feel it's really like puppetry is really welcoming to the multidisciplinary aspect of art. So I really feel you will create something wonderful over
It,
there.
it really is. Oh, and the other thing that but back to the first question that I cherish about puppetry is that yes, it is multilingual. You don't need language. It's so visceral and visual, and you can go anywhere in the world and people will understand what's going on when a puppet moves its hand, you know, or they'll have their own interpretations of it, because they're from a different culture and maybe a hand movement means something else.
Yeah.
So it really is, it transcends language. and all of that. It's one thing I really like about it.
Yes. So let's transcend the world with puppetry. I love it.
Yes. In fact, there's a huge puppet festival in France, right? In Charleville.
Charleville-Mézières, yes.
Yeah. Have you been?
No, I want to go in next October. I really wish, but let's see how
Let's
it goes.
go. Let's just do it. Let's buy the plane
Let's do
ticket.
it.
Right now, the plane tickets are really cheap, I'm sure, and we can just get one and just go.
Yeah, that's a good plan. So we will meet each other over there. Yeah, from the podcast, we make it to Charleville. So cool.
Actually, another plug. La Mama is having their puppet slam next week. Is next week December? Yep. Oh my gosh, next week is December 1st, I think. Hold on, I'm going to get killed if I don't get the date right.
You need to plug your thing. That's really important.
But it's, yes, December 1st, and it's several.
It's next Sunday. It's there, like.
Yeah. And it's going to be live streamed on YouTube and on La Mama's website, and it's curated by Jane Catherine Shaw, who is a veteran puppeteer in New York City. And it features short works of genius from several different artists. You should submit something to the Puppet Slam next year or any year. Yeah.
Yeah, that's so cool. So yes, we can tune for this on Sunday for sure. Everyone, we will put it below the interview so you can click and just join.
Yeah. And it's free. You know, it's just, if you want to spend a little time just watching some cool puppets, do it.
Yeah, and you will participate. You do a number.
Well, I'm not in it. I have been in the past few years, but this year I am operating the live stream. So this is that's been something else that I've turned into, a different kind of puppeteer, operating the strings of the live stream world.
That's a puppetry related.
Yeah. It's intense. It's intense. Which this is such a cool experience, this podcast and going live right now. It's really cool. You look like you really have it together, and it looks really great. And congratulations.
Yeah, thank you so much. I do that with a lot of passion, and we need to bring a lot of attention towards puppetry world. I feel it's such an amazing art form. So thank you, Chris, for your time to be part of the show. I'm so happy to meet you and discover you.
Yes, thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, I think we can talk for hours.
Yeah, well, I feel like we still have 2 minutes, right? Someone said, which pop song would you love to make a puppet music video for?
Yeah, let's bring it right there. Like,
wow, that's cool how you could put it in the video.
Yeah, I can bring it in front.
I think I would like to do... I mean, Meg the Stallion has just such good material coming out right now, and I think it would look so good with puppets. It's just so rowdy and so crazy and just so over the top. Or I would love to do something like a Radiohead song, you know, or didn't they have one of their videos is a stop motion video.
Yeah.
Burn the Witch or something like that. This is what I'm saying. I'm saying, like, see, people are getting back into puppets, like, all over the place. It's there. There's definitely a yearning for it.
Yes, and I feel we'll find other field of development to bring more puppetry, and it's really to bring a philosophy behind also the art with puppetry. It's kind of like how we can bring more storytelling in another way to tell a story, I feel.
Oh, and also one of the coolest community building things I've ever seen. It was just an open space with just junk materials, art making materials, glitter, things everywhere, and a few puppet makers, and anyone could just walk in and start making puppets with them. Like you could join in, make a puppet, you could start your own puppet. It was the coolest thing ever. That's like back to something like what I want to do. I want to do something like that.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's such a and where was this thing?
That was just in the East Village. One day I was just walking and it was like an open house, an open installation, and you could just go in and start making puppets for a big parade that was going to happen.
Wow, yeah, and that's true for community purpose, like a parade. It's really
Yeah.
build with people and just be together. It's
Yeah,
really...
puppets for community building. Yes. For kids, yes. And for pop stars, yes.
That's the future. So cool, Chris. Thank you so much. I will have, unfortunately, to push you out of the screen.
Oh, push me. Go for it.
In the studio, we will chat after. So let me push you. Thank you so much. See you. Everyone, thank you for watching. I'm so happy to meet such amazing people. So yeah, feel free to write to us. We have a Gmail, the puppetpodcast@gmail.com, or reach to us and let's see how this wonderful project will grow. I thank you again to Chris, and I want to just bring last thing, Mathieu René, who do a workshop. It will be on December 5 in the afternoon. So we will share this knowledge about OBS, live streaming, how to bring that to another level with the Patreon account that we have. So I will put the little banner right there. Let's check this out. So we you know the address. Patreon is pretty kind of a cool platform. So have a look here, patreon.com/puppetpodcast, and watch what we create. We put a lot of passion into it, and we want to promote the art form and help the community. So yeah, feel free to join us in this wonderful adventure. So everyone, next week, other episode, we will go to Toronto, Canada, to meet another crew of puppeteers. So we will have 2 guests. So this is a secret. I will reveal it pretty soon online. So have a nice evening, everyone. Thank you for watching again, and see you soon.